Let's start with ESPN's Buster Olney saying it seems inevitable that the Mets will sign one of Framber Valdez or Ranger Suárez as they continue to explore the starting pitching market. You know why I find this interesting?
Are they going to sign for 1 year or 2 years? Because that's David Stern's MO.
Or are they giving in and signing to longer-term deals? I don't think 1 or 2. I mean, Sean Manaea signed for 3. So is that the biggest he's given out since he took over? Am I missing anyone?
He's never given out more with the Brewers even. I mean, he gave out extensions to young pitchers.
Yeah, like Freddy P, but that doesn't count. So for free agents, Manaea was the biggest one. 3 years, $75 million. Maybe
so what
that's what
Framber. Framber 3 years, 85. Does he do it?
Tell me what else is out there.
He's not getting. Is Framber getting 30 anywhere else?
I think Framber's at the age where he's looking for the biggest guarantee because he might have to take a deal where it's got opt-outs and he hops back into the market. But if you're Framber, in fairness, you're looking around like, what else do I have to prove on the field? Just, performance-wise, statistics-wise. I think Framber's, 32 years old. It's one thing if you're taking your first crack at free agency. Like, here, I'll give you the example. Michael King coming off injury. Makes sense, right? He might end up being just a 1 year, $22-ish million with the Padres, and some of that's deferred, I think. And then he hops back into the market. Zach Gallen might have to do that based off the year that he just came off of. If you're Framber Valdez, you're like, I've been consistent as hell in terms of putting up my overall numbers. I mean, yes, he goes through his really hot and cold times during the season, but
when he's good, he's really good.
When he's good, he's really good. But look at his numbers. I mean, sure, he tailed off a little bit towards the end of this past season, but you're looking at a pretty consistent 30-ish starts for the past 4 years, racking close to 200 innings. And when you get to the end of the season, the numbers are pretty close. So you wouldn't think he would need to do something like that. But I just don't know who the big spenders are right now in the marketplace for this kind of pitching talent. Do you? It seems like a lot of those teams are looking on the trade front, right? The Yankees have a lot of money, but are they spending it on either of these guys, or are they trying to trade for Edward Cabrera or Freddy Peralta? Orioles are definitely in play. They've been linked to Ranger Suárez for 10 years now, and it hasn't happened yet, but I think it still could.
Braves?
I don't know if the Braves are going to spend like that. I think they're more hanging around in case the trade market opens. I don't know. Maybe they would spend like that.
I don't know. I'm just throwing teams out there.
The Mets and the Orioles.
You asked what teams, and I'm throwing team names out there.
Mets and the Orioles.
The question for me is, why did the Astros not want it back? They signed Amai to a 3-year, 18
It's going to be 363 or 1 year, 20-something, and then back to the free agent market. But yes, they did that. They added who else am I missing that they added? Not Weiss. I know they added him too.
They added a trade.
But they got Mike Burrows, who obviously cost nothing. He's league minimum. But why didn't they want him back? Framber Valdez is an interesting.
No, it's just a question. I don't know.
Agent. I don't think we need to beat around the bush. Like, he had a massive incident this past year. Massive, right? Everybody looked at that and said, that's insane. He had to go to the GM meetings, and they made a whole video, and then teams decide for themselves. But like we said, when this happened, some owners are human beings. They see this stuff. Just like they get excited when they watch the playoffs and their team's not in it, and they see a guy shine, and then they're like, I want that guy. They watch that incident, it goes viral, and they're like, I don't want that guy. Even if he's good. That is a part of it.
Maybe he just wanted too much money, Scott. Why do you always got to go there?
I'm not always going there. But also, Dylan Cease got 210, or if you want to put the net present value, it's still high 100s. And then the rest of the market's like, oh, well, I put up numbers like that. Like Valdez has put up numbers like that. But teams say, I like Cease better. So we don't think that you're worth the 185 or whatever the number is, right?
Giants, maybe?
Nah, they're not spending like that. They said it, and they went Molly and Adrian Hauser.
Just don't. You asked for teams that could do it.
Orioles, Mets. They both want to buy starters. But
so then where does Ranger and Framber end up? One of them ends up at one place, the other one ends up
Ranger
the other
to
place?
the Orioles, Framber to the Mets. But I'm with Kratz here. I do think he's going to end up getting a deal that's like 3 years, 85 with an opt-out after year one and a high AAV in year one, which is like $30 million or $35 million.
I have it for you, Scott. I think. If he gets 5 years, 120 from the Orioles, or 3 years, I'll even say 90, just for easy math. One is 24 a year for 5 years. The other one's 30 and he gets to hit the open market again. I mean, a 3-year, $90 million deal, he's going to have an opt-out after the first year. But which does he take? He's 32 years old. A 5-year deal puts him at 37. 24 a year doesn't put him up there with what Dylan Cease got. 30 a year per year. Now you're talking the same, more of the same realm.
It's a great question. You guys are players. What would you guys do?
Depends where he is.
I take the 120.
I take the 120, but
yeah, take that as my big deal and call it. I don't know what the next year. You know what the next year might look like? A disaster, because you're also going up against the CBA.
Yes.
So for me, I'm taking the largest guarantee. If it's that different, if you're saying 90 versus 100, maybe that's different. But if you're saying 90 versus 120, there's a $30 million guarantee difference. I'm taking the 120.
So then who's making out? Who's making out in both those cases? In my opinion, it's ownership. There's no such thing as a bad 1-year deal. And if you only have him for 3 years and he flops after the first year, you know what? We spent less than $100 million. So to me, either one of those scenarios, because of how things have been swung in the media and how they've been put out there about Valdez, because Scott, you even did it. You were like, who doesn't like this guy? Who doesn't? Well, and then 2 minutes later, you're like, remember that one thing that was out there? Like Jim Bowden said, this guy's work on the field should stand for itself. You have an opportunity to converse with this guy about what has happened, not just that incident, but other instances. I just think I think it's too much swinging in the wrong direction if this is how players always have to go into their first year of free agency. Look at Boris's clients. They've gotten paid, but unfortunately, what if one of these guys gets hurt? Now they're not getting paid. I mean, it worked out for Chapman. It's most likely going to work out for Bregman. They're getting these contracts that they should have gotten their first year. It's another way of ownership saying, you made it to free agency, we're still going to stick it to you for 1 more year.
And just to clarify, for Framber, he's not a Boris client. Pete Alonso for sure. Well, I'll give you one part of how that works too. Some of these guys are getting attached to qualifying offers, and teams hold that against you way too much. But that goes into a bigger conversation that we talk about and almost no one else does.
The CBA?
The CBA. They're like, hey, make sure you hold these dudes to the fire with their qualifying offer, because I don't understand
why. I mean, I understand why teams say the qualifying offer, because you get a draft pick. But how many? I would love to see a stat on these draft picks that actually turn into bona fide Framber Valdez all-star type World Series winning, no-hitter throwing players.
Some do, some don't.
But that's the thing. Just so I get more money.
But they just
in the draft that I can then the GM can screw up.
It's worth so much, and we're going to hold it against
you. But it's
you. It
not.
happens every
year.
It's
fake money. I'd rather have the good player.
So
give me
would
the good player.
So would many. But there are some that do hold them up against that. But the point right now is, who are the teams on the market that are actually thinking about spending $100+ million on a free agent starter? And do they think that guy's the perfect fit? I mean, I'm still shocked about Amaya. I think I'm the high guy on Amaya. I think he's going to be a stud. But maybe I'm wrong. Other teams clearly thought he's going to be a 4 or 5, or maybe not even be a starter. That's what was spoken there. I mean, he's got innings markers to hit that are basically start games and you'll hit the markers 80, 90, and 100. So, I mean, to me, he's going to hit the market again after this year. But for these guys, clearly there's some teams that are like, I don't see it for Framber like the Blue Jays saw it for Dylan Cease. And I do think Ranger Suárez will get a nice contract, but we've talked about this. He's had some injuries and stuff. He's not the perfect free agent starter available. He's going to get paid.
He's young.
Yeah. And some teams would say, hey, he's had some injuries earlier on in his career. The mileage on the arm is less. You can paint it however you want to paint it. That's always the bullshit, right? You can say, oh, he's had a few injuries, but you can also say, okay, he's had less mileage on the arm. Remember,
it goes back to what we always say.
James Shields pitched 1 billion innings every year until he didn't.
Listen, it always goes back to this. More teams almost try to talk themselves out of signing the free agent instead of saying, man, this guy could really help us. Even on a short-term deal, let's throw a 1-year deal, with an opt-out or whatever, like the Red Sox did with Alex Bregman. It's just so much of always, they're always looking for the negatives. Because when they're negotiating, that's what they're using with the agents.
Well, they all use the same formulas now, too.
Exactly. Remember, Rob Manfred just did a thing where all the minor league information has to be together.
Same.
You think the teams don't talk?
Yeah, everyone's
about
using
their
the same stuff.
I'm not saying they talk about players, but you don't think they all – because look at the front office movement this year. From the Red Sox, from the Cubs, from this team, from that team to the new – you don't think that they bring their formulas that they just learned with the old team over?
And most teams have the same shit, too. There's like a few slight differences.
Taboni came from where? Boston.
Yep.
So he's going to use the same formula that the Red Sox used for years. Chaim Bloom came from Tampa, and then he went to Boston, and then now he's in St. Louis. So they're all using the same little formula, whatever it is, because they're all intertwined throughout the league because of the trees.
And then you know what happens? Last year, and I talked about this the other day, eventually – a phone call is made to Red Sox owner John Henry, and they're like, hey, dude, I know that your projection model says this is the contract. It's not going to get him, and he's about to sign with the Tigers. Do you actually want the player? You have to go to this number. And then he's like, okay. And then that's what happened. So then you throw everything out the window. That's a real story.
Yeah, that's how it works. And you said before, Scott, you were like the qualifying offer is connected and all. And AJ was asking how many. What percentage do you guys think of first rounders? Because you don't necessarily get a pick depending on when the team is, but first rounders that make the big leagues. Just make the big leagues.
Go ahead. I have no idea.
66%. 60%, 66%. So you have this on one side. You have Framber Valdez, Ranger Suárez will start a playoff game for you. Ask the Tigers how close they were to making it to the next round, making it to the World Series. One extra pitcher, would that have done it for him? To this side, you say, 66% chance of, you know what, a guy could make the big leagues. It's not even like you're talking about in this hand, the qualifying offer is getting you a superstar. It's getting somebody who has a 66% chance of making the big leagues. If you're only basing it on numbers, why would you not take what's right in front of you if you're a team that says, man, we're so close? The Tigers, the Mariners, the teams that are so close. If you can add a player for a specific locked in amount of money, why would you not make that move? Because it inhibits your job. Like it makes you look like, ooh, you know what? This could keep my job for a longer time. Like the qualifying offer is crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Talking about a kid that's in college right now or high school right now as a possibility of making the big leagues in 5 years. What?
Where the hell are the Cubs?
Wait, yeah, exactly. Wait, who has a 66% chance?
He's saying first round picks. If you get picked in the first round, 66% of them.
All first round picks have a 66% chance?
Just to make it.
The thing that I looked up says 66% of first rounders make it to play at least one game in the big leagues.
Okay.
I just want to point this out quick.
But I played just a lot of guys that were for high first round picks and this and that, and their careers, they made the big leagues. I used Josh Booty. Remember, there was a guy named Josh Booty. He was like the 10th overall pick. He got like a cup of coffee because he was a first round pick. And they're like, well, we have to validate the first round pick.
Yep.
Right. Like there was a lot of guys I played with and against a lot of first round picks that only made it because they made him make the organization. Oh, we got this one right. He's in the big leagues because he was a first round pick.
Yeah, impact first round is a very small percent. I mean, impact anything.
Any round.
I mean, it's
it goes down as you go down in the rounds, clearly.
Yeah.
But it's just the qualifying offer to me is just.
I'm not
saying Kratz on this one. Draft. We overvalue because there's team. I'll use the Dodgers. The Dodgers pick at the bottom of the first round. They go sign. They give up draft picks all the time, and you know what they still do? They still develop guys that they can trade away and make into players.
Out prospects.
You know why? Because it's development. It's not always about where you draft. It's about who you draft and how you develop.
Yep, I'm with you.
I mean, because nowadays the first pick in the draft ain't always the best player either, because teams have slots. And they'll make. It's crazy because I just went through with my son, not my son getting drafted, but teams calling and other kids on his high school team one was drafted, a couple of them could have been drafted, but they're like, hey, we'll draft you if you'll sign for XYZ.
This happens all the time.
And like the higher you get in the draft, like they want to know if they're using a top 3 round pick on you, that you're gonna sign. Hey, they'll who had the first pick this year? The Rockies? No, who was it? I forget who had whoever had the first pick this year. They called whoever they drafted, and they're like, "Hey, can we get you instead of the slot being $9 million? The Nats, right?
Yep.
The slot. Let's say the slot was $10 million this year.
Nats just did this, by the way. This is the perfect example. The Nats did.
Yeah,
this.
That's what I'm
saying.
Called
like
they
5
didn't
guys.
take. They called the top 10 prospects and said, "Hey, will you sign for 7 instead of 10? So that way we can save the $3 million for later." And whoever said yes, that was who they drafted first.
Yeah. They got Eli Willits.
They got Willits.
There were other phone calls made. That's
100%.
a fact as well. Yeah. The dream scenario, it's not the dream, but the Pirates picked Henry Davis. He took under slot as a 1-1. And then they luckily saved face by getting Bubba Chandler later on.
Yes.
Right?
But my question is baseball the only sport where this matters?
Where what matters?
Slot value, who you pick. Because if you go in football, they pick the best player.
That's
quarterback
why our
usually.
Draft is fucked. It should
right?
just be
okay,
the
so
best
then
players.
let's go NBA. They usually pick the best player, right?
Yes. Do you know why this is all created like this? It's because we have this annoying cap system in the draft, and that's why it's not popular and in the mainstream, and no one understands how it all works. And they're like, wait, the best player didn't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The best player went 7. I can go all day on that, but that is a thing. Let's get to one more rumor. Back to Buster Olney's report on the Red Sox making an aggressive offer for Alex Bregman. Can we show this tweet? Our friend Jared Carabas commented on this in the morning. So Tyler Milliken put out this tweet to summarize what Buster Olney said. Aggressive offer for Bregman. Today he says they've signaled a willingness to pay him big money, maybe something in the range of 6 years, $171.5 million. Carabas said, if this is real and Bregman hasn't accepted it yet, then what the fuck are we doing here? I'm with Jared here. That's a very healthy offer to Alex Bregman. I still have this lingering question in my mind. Is Arizona more involved than we think? And does Alex have an inclination to maybe end up there to be there full time and do the Corbin Burns kind of situation, right? Like if the money's close from Arizona, no? You don't think there's any factor there? I mean, you guys are the players. You tell me.
Taxes.
Arizona, taxes, living there year round, it's an appealing place. And it's not a bad team. It's a good franchise.
Yeah.
You don't think that's a factor here? Like that they're still dancing around and the numbers are close? No? Because otherwise, like Jared said, like what are we waiting for here? That seems like a very healthy offer. Is he getting more than that? I don't think he's getting $200 million. Do you?
No.
That seems like a pretty nice offer. Does someone have better than that?
That's what he's hoping for.
Maybe. I don't know.
You think someone has better than that?
Maybe. The maybe part of it. Tyler Milliken put maybe 6 years.
Well, he didn't even put that. He's just aggregating from Buster Olney's report. So, and Buster might not have. I mean, usually when someone tries to put the exact number offer out, it's often a miss. So, I'm just throwing that out there. But if that was the case, he's like, what are we waiting for?
I don't think, and obviously I have no idea. I don't think the Diamondbacks are the ones that have to make the offer first. And I think the Red Sox have let us know what everybody else offers. They don't want to bid against themselves. Okay, but I don't see how they don't get Bregman. And I think that's how they put it. And because they saw what he can do. And I think it's wait for the Diamondbacks to make the offer. And then I think the Red Sox will either match it, top it, whatever that needs to be.
Sometimes you're not given that luxury. That happened last year with the Tigers. It's like, you sure that's your last offer? Cool. Red Sox just beat you. We gone. Schwarber just did that with the Reds. Reds told him, hey, come back. We can go higher. And he's like, nah, Phillies just put this number up that I was looking for later. I know it's different, but I'm just saying they don't get the honor of getting last call just because they had him for one season.
I think some organizations do. When you play for that team, I think some organizations do. I believe that. I know that with some organizations because that's how some of my buddies have done their contracts.
I know, but that's not a rule. Like he played for them for 5 minutes.
It's not a rule, but
if you were him, would you think that he needs to give them the benefit of last call offer? No. You would be like, yo, tell me what I'm worth Throw it out there.
Give me your best offer.
I got other teams involved. This is a one time you get to do this.
Here it is. I'm going to make a decision. Give me your best offer.
Yeah.
I'm going to decide.
Deciding today, what's your best offer? I'm not coming back to you with my other shit. That's none of your business.
I disagree. Arizona says 160.
For 5 minutes?
Arizona says 160. Hey, Boston, I'm about to sign. It's 160. What do you got? They say 165. Arizona, they just said 160. Isn't that how negotiations work? Like, why do we have to
He's not going to. One thing they don't do is throw numbers out there.
But also, that is not how it works for most cases. They do not do the back and forth. Oh, this team said this team said that. Part of that actually has to do with something you bring up, and we all bring up all the time. Like you're trying to play a mystery game because you're already fighting against collusion, even the indirect collusion of everyone using the same models. So the best way to counter that is to actually make it more of a mysterious process. Like, I've got something, it's hot today, I'm going to take it. And don't even give them time to figure out who it is and what the offer is.
I don't know.
I do. I know that's a thing.
Yeah, that's what
I agree with you that that's a thing. But as the player, you want them to negotiate against each other. And I think the leverage is in Bregman's hands with the Red Sox.
Yeah, I agree. The leverage is in his hands. But I don't think he has to go back to them and say, hey, John, can you beat the better offer that I found? Like, they're the Red Sox. They can handle their own big boy offer on their own. So whatever.
I would go back.